Yo, what's up, guys? This is Comrade64. How you guys are doing today? And I'm back with another video. And for this video, I'm going to be doing, talking about what are the chances of us basically seeing the pilot episode for Bioman. Now, for those of you who don't know, and I think some of you guys probably do know, but those of you who are basically are diehard Power Rangers fans or Sentai fans, like I am, then you guys probably know about this. But in case some of you guys don't know, the Super Sentai series, Senshi Bioman, almost became the first Sentai season 2 series to be adapted over here in the West. Because it was actually the first Sentai that Haim Saban actually discovered. So, back in 1984, which is a year where Bioman was airing, Haim Saban took a business trip to Japan, and basically he was at a Japanese hotel room, and he was flipping through some channels, and he came across a Bioman, and he was just amazed by what he saw, and he wanted to bring this over to the West and feel like it'd be something that people could enjoy. So he decides, just like take the Japanese footage and mix it with American footage, which is always kind of fun to do. At least that's why I see it. I'm a Tokusatsu adaptations. But anyways, so back in 1986, he basically shot a pilot episode, and the pilot episode featured a couple of famous, well-known people. Some people that would go on to be famous, like Mark DeCostos, who was in plenty of stuff. The John Wick films and a couple other stuff. And Tokusatsu fans will also know him as Ubilan, the Abbey Master from Comrade Dragonite. So yeah, that Dragonite basically being the second Toku project he was involved in, and then also like the guy who was going to play the Green Ranger, Val Green, I think, Miguel Nez Jr. You know, he was known as Juana Man in that basketball film. He's been in other stuff, and he was also in the first Scooby Doo movie back in 2002. He played like the Voodoo Man, I think that was his name. And then there were also some other people in like I think the Yellow Ranger. Yeah, the Yellow Ranger, the one who's going to play the Yellow Ranger, was the half sister of Carrie Fisher, and that's all I know. So and apparently, Saban's Haim Saban shot the pilot episode, and he shipped the pilot episode to many different executives, uh, TV networks, cable channels, many different kind of networks, and it got rejected all around. I guess maybe people probably passed it off because they thought it was kind of weird, it was kind of dumb, it was kind of stupid, didn't make much sense, it was just kind of weird, you know. But then again, during that time, I think we did got English dub of Japanese shows and products and stuff like that. But this is why I think. Now, we have seen some footage of this Bioman pilot. Like on the he did reuse some of it in his pitch trailer for Galaxy Rangers years later. So some bits of the pilot are in there. But unfortunately, despite the fact that the Bioman pilot never got picked up, the Bioman never got picked up. So that didn't stop Saban from trying. He did try again in the early '90s with Koizen Zoo Ranger, and he and then ended up becoming Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Now there were rumors that he did try to pick Jetman as well. I think that is true. Oh, so that's from some sources I heard. He tried to pitch Jetman too as well, and that he was singing the Jetman theme song at some kind of restaurant when he was having with Tony Oliver, who I met by the way back in 2016 at Anime Boston. And Anime Boston is today, and it was yesterday and even tomorrow. I'll be going. So yeah, yes. So yeah, we don't know. I guess he did try to pitch Jetman too. That's what I think. So unfortunately, the Bioman pilot, unfortunately has not surfaced anywhere. We have saw just some clips of it, but unfortunately, we haven't saw the full pilot episode. Now, from what the series was going to be based about, it was supposed to be about five teenagers with identical biorhythms facing off against this evil villain. I forgot the name of what they were going to call him. Well, basically, it seemed like it was just going to be Bioman, but there's actually this Bioman, a carbon copy of Bioman. At least is what I think from what I heard from some sources. But it is a bummer that this pilot has never surfaced. Now, I think some Power Ranger actors have actually said that they saw the pilot episode. Now, I do think, here's what I think. I think we probably do have a possible chance of maybe someday seeing this pilot episode surface someday. Now, why I say that? Why I say that? You may ask. Well, because recently during the past couple of years, we have seen pilot episodes of certain shows basically pop up and be released. Like we saw the Bob the Builder pilot. It was a pilot. It featured Bob and Scoop, and before I think his name was Digger. It was a short little pilot, and it was both Bob and Scoop had very different designs. Oh, that pilot episode reached surface, and then we then got the pilot episode for Family Guy, which was released a couple months. Yeah, it just came out of nowhere. And another fun thing is we saw the Thompson Tankington pilot episode, which was basically kind of like a shot for shot, very similar to the episode Down the Mine. I mean, model style does look kind of different, but it does look like it's straight to straight a remake, straight to straight an earlier version of the episode Down the Mine. Well, yeah, because most pilot episodes they do seem to be similar to like either the first episode or an episode featured later on, or maybe some pilot episodes are different and don't have any episodes, or some are just like standalone, or like some pilot episodes, like I think with the Thompson Tank pilot was just made to like show his exodus and how something like this could work for an audience. At least that's what I think. I mean, well, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers pilot episode that did bear a couple of resemblances to Day of the Dumpster. There were some differences. I mean, but the ending was pretty much the same, and all that stuff, So yeah, there were some similarities and but there's some a little main differences. But anyways, pilot episodes they are pretty much tend to be sometimes either similar to the final version or totally different entirely. Sometimes characters' names can be different, or characters can be similar. And also, we haven't seen the pilot episode of Drake and Joss. Not sure yet. And also, speaking of Drake and Joss, Dan Snyder, whose name is basically Mud. Yeah, and yeah, it is for many reasons. Well, fuck that guy. Excuse my links, but Dan Snyder, you're a fucking scumbag, and you should go to prison. But we did saw the pilot episode for one of his iCarly spin-off shows, Gibby. The pilot episode for that resurfaced, I think, like last year or the year before. So yeah, so that was another pilot episode that surfaced, and maybe the Drake and Josh pilot episode surfaced. And again, since I talked about the Drake and Josh pilot episode, there are some pilot episodes to some shows that haven't resurfaced, and there's probably still some more out there. Now, Big Bad Beetleborgs actually has a pilot episode, and this was actually confirmed by the guy who played Kid Tommy in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers when the Rangers returned back into Kids. Apparently, he was originally hired to be on Big Bad Beetleborgs. He worked on a pilot episode, and he has shown some screenshots. I think only 3 so far. I think they were just behind the scenes, and he has a script for it. But unfortunately, that pilot episode has not surfaced at all. And heck, and speaking of Saban and American Tokusatsu adaptations, Saban's Master Rider actually has a pilot episode, and that pilot episode was basically connected to the Power Rangers three-parter A Friend in Need, because Master Rider was originally supposed to, the three-parter of A Friend in Need was supposed to lead into the Master Rider TV series, where King Lexian, he sends Dex away to Earth, and Inoue explodes, and Dex has to defend Earth from Count Dragon. But the Master Rider TV series is actually completely different, because Count Dragon is basically, because in A Friend in Need, Count Dragon has no relation to Dex at all. But in the Master Rider TV series, Count Dragon is Dex's uncle. So they're both different. So the Master Rider from Power Rangers and the Master Rider from the Master Rider TV series are both basically different characters, basically. But in the last minute, Saban decided to just change the format of the series and cut this ties connection with Power Rangers. So, yeah, that's a pilot episode that has not surfaced. Now, I think VR Troopers did have a pilot episode, but it was shown very shortly, because we know there was, like, I think it was just like only a teaser. They showed it had a different logo, and they had a different actor play the professor. It was like an old guy. So yeah, and there are many different other pilot episodes out there that have probably surfaced, and some that probably hasn't. So far we saw the pilot episode for Bob the Builder, Family Guy, Thomas the Tank Engine, and a couple others out there. And maybe there are other shows out there that have pilot episodes that we never knew about. But oh yeah, Comrade Dragonite had a pilot episode. Had a pilot episode where most of the cast were different, but the only actor who came from the pilot episode to be in the finalized version of the TV series was Matt Mullins, who played Len. So yeah. So recently, it has kind of seen that there are some pilot episodes that actually have kind of surfaced over the past few months and years. So maybe there is a possibility that possibly that we could see this Bioman Pilot surface somewhere down the line, either this year or maybe next year, or maybe sometime eventually. If Hasbro would be nice enough to like just release a pilot, and or maybe the YouTube channel Morphin Museum could possibly maybe somehow get a hold, probably has a hold of the pilot, and maybe probably might release it. Well, if you don't know the Morphin Museum, it's a popular YouTube channel where it shows a lot of Power Ranger stuff behind the scenes, cut content and many stuff. Like it has shown some original concept of some videos of the actress who originally was going to play Maya in Power Rangers Lost Galaxy, Aaron Simmons. So yeah, I definitely check out Morphin Museum. It's a great YouTube channel, and they also have a Facebook page as well. So yeah, maybe they probably have a copy of the Bioman Pilot. I don't know. Maybe we don't know, but hopefully someday the Bioman Pilot does actually surfaces, because I would love to see it, even though it's going to be short. But it's so fun to see, because pilot episodes are really fun to see, because they're pretty much like earlier versions of shows, basically, like before the finished product. I mean, sure, pilot episodes are just mainly just like either placeholders or just test things, just made to mainly show the audience that, hey, this could be a show. And there are many other pilot episodes out there. I mean, now the Loud House did have a pilot episode, and it was pretty much similar to the final version. I don't think there was any differences. And there were other pilot episodes that never got picked up as shows. I know Cartoon Network used to have, I think, Oh Yeah Cartoons, or I think that was Nickelodeon. I don't know, but I know Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon both had like this kind of block where you can pick which show you can be, which pilot episode would you like to see become a finalized TV series. Megas XLR, and I think Kids Next Door end up being winners, and Fairy Odd Parents. Those are some notable examples. I think there are others. Now I do remember with Nickelodeon there was this one about dogs from outer space, and that one I think that was just made by the same person who made Hey Arnold. I mean, the animation did look kind of similar. And no Cartoon Network had this another one that made by the same person that made Hey Arnold. Okay, Arnold. I forgot the name of that one. But yeah, pay pilot episodes. They are fun to see. So I do hope we do get to see the Bioman Pilot somewhere. I don't know if Time Saban still has a copy, but we know Hasbro probably does because Hasbro owns the rights to the brand. And like Mattel, they own the rights to Thomas Hickington, and they had the copy of the pilot episode buried in their archive. So maybe Hasbro probably has the Bioman Pilot in their archive, or maybe like other people probably have copies of the pilot, like maybe some Power Ranger actors. I mean, some were actually said to rumored to have a copy of the pilot episode, and maybe Morphin Museum probably does have a copy of the pilot episode. If Morphin Museum is able to get some of these behind the scenes footage and all these other stuff, maybe it's a possibility that Morphin Museum, whether it's he, she, or them, probably has a copy of the pilot. We really don't know at this point, and but I do think maybe there's a possibility we might see this pilot someday. We might see the Bioman Pilot pop up eventually somewhere down the line. I do think so, and it probably will no longer be lost media. And maybe all those other pilot episodes for all other shows could probably surface someday. So Boss Master Rider, even though probably doubtful because Master Rider turned out to be a terrible series and nobody likes it. And maybe the Beat Wars pilot. And I think maybe Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad has a pilot episode. I don't know. But you let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that we have a chance to see the Bioman pilot show up eventually, soon? What do you think? You can let me know in the comment section below. And that's it for this video. I'll probably have this video uploaded later on today or maybe Monday or Tuesday because it's Saturday right now as I'm recording, so I might have it up later or maybe depending on my schedule if I'm gonna have time to upload it. So yeah, I gotta go because I gotta go somewhere with my mom to get my mass ID like renewed or something. So I'll be seeing you guys later. This is Comrade 64 on sign out. Peace out, guys. May the power protect you.